This is black eyed peas and green soup. I bet you never heard of this before. I know I hadn't almost 20 years ago. It's got andouille sausage, black eyed peas, and collard greens. And I got a nice piece of cornbread on top. You could add some rice to this and make it a full meal, or eat it like this as soup as I first had it and known to grow and love it. So if you want a nice, cozy, delicious soup to make that your family will love you for and they probably have never had, black eyed peas and green soup. Keep watching. Hi guys, I'm going to show you how I make black eyed peas and green soup. A lot of people just call it black eyed peas and greens, but when I first had it, it was called a soup at a restaurant in Detroit, and they used ground beef. I'm going to use andouille sausage. I'm going to use 1 bag, I guess that's a pound. I don't know how much that is. That's 1 pound of black eyed peas, and I'm going to soak them for about 12 hours. I'm going to use the crock pot. I've got my liner in there, and I'm using beef broth. You're going to need 1 can of Glory greens. They're seasoned. Or you can use fresh, but you know my channel is all about shortcuts. I don't know how you found me, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome back to those who've been here before. I'm going to use some of the Tony's Shakiri's Creole seasoning and some garlic. And I'm going to use the last of my mirepoix here. You know, it's got celery, onions, and carrots in there. You can use bell peppers for this if you like. I may decide later to put some in. I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to get my beans soaking in some water for a minimum of 6 to 12 hours. I'm not going overnight. Dump everything in the crock pot except the greens, and come back and add the greens later after the peas have been cooked, and you'll have a delicious meal. I absolutely love this. It's perfect with cornbread, and I think your family will love it. It is a 10 out of 10 recipe. So let me get everything set up. Let's get cooking. Okay, I've got my andouille sausage here. Got my skillet up on pretty high. Now you don't have to cook the sausage. It's already pre-cooked when you buy it, but I just want to have some color on there for extra flavor. I'm just going to put this in the skillet and let this go for a few minutes. Got it on high. I think it'll add some extra flavor and dimension. I didn't add any oil to the skillet. Okay, that's about ready to add to the crock pot. Okay, let's get this party started. I've got my black eyed peas, soaked them for 7 hours. I was trying for 8, but kind of in a hurry. And then I'm going to add my sausage. Hey, you guys, let me know. I was told, I don't know if it's an old wives' tale or not, that your peas or beans will be tough if you salt the food right now that you're cooking, the peas or the beans. So I've always been deathly afraid to put any seasoning in until after they've cooked for a while. So let me know, because I'm not adding anything just yet. This is 1 container of beef broth. Now, the first time I had this recipe, like I said, it was at Eastern Market in Detroit, and they served it with ground beef. And I decided to do andouille sausage. I didn't have the recipe. Like I said, the restaurant closed. So I'm going to add 1 and about a half of that. And now I'm going to put the lid on this and cook this for 3 hours untouched. Whoops, your girl forgot. You know I would have been so angry had I forgotten this. You want to add your onions. I'm using celery and carrots, but most people for Creole food, you want to do the Trinity, which is onions, green pepper, and celery. But I just want to use this up because I have it and I don't want it to go to waste. So yeah, I just bought it frozen. And I also forgot my heaping tablespoon of garlic. So I'm trying to use that up too. So now it's going to cook on high. Forgot to tell you that also, for 3 hours. Okay, there you have it. After 4 hours of cooking, remember I cooked it 3 hours with just the black-eyed peas and the sausage, and then I went ahead and cooked it with, I added the can of Glory greens. If you want this thicker, take a potato masher and go in here and just mash up some of the beans. But when I had it at Eastern Market 20 years ago, it was made with ground beef, not andouille sausage. I did that for extra flavor because I had no idea how they seasoned that black-eyed pea and green soup. And I'm gonna tell you, out of all the soups I've had in the world, that's still number 2 on my list. Favorite soup, and they went out of business. So give this recipe a try. Use any Creole seasoning that you like, or change the meat. I just use andouille, like I said, for extra flavor. But you can go with kielbasa, beef, bowl of sausage, any kind of sausage. And if you're daring to do ground beef, if you do ground beef and it turns out great, please, please shoot me a message. I gotta have the recipe. Okay, let me get everything set up and tell you guys my joke. A man sits down at a bar looking dejected. The bartender goes, "Everything all right, mate?" The man replies, "No, got into a fight with my wife, and she says she won't speak to me for a whole month." "Maybe that's a good thing," said the bartender. "A little peace and quiet." The man replies, "Yeah," and then looks into the bottom of his drink and mutters, "Today's the last day." That's kind of funny. Are we really that big of a pain in the tail? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. More importantly, comment. I love to respond to each and every comment, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Give this a try. Like I said, I wish I had the original recipe. I would sell my 2 front teeth and buy some veneers if I could get my hands on that recipe. It was at the Eastern Market. And I do believe, like I said, it is the largest market in the world, open market in the world, or one of the largest. There's something big and iconic about that. So if you ever get to the Detroit area, make sure you check it out. But that place has since closed up. And I mean, when the food would arrive, everybody's head was down in prayer, and then you didn't hear anything. That was some of the best soup I've ever had in my life. So please give this a try, and especially let me know if you use the ground beef and it tastes good, because that's the way I want it. This is my version of black-eyed pea and green soup. God bless. I love you all. Have a good night.